Okay, I'm back with some more color commentary on the Meteor tutorial. This is the section called Storing Temporary UI State in a Reactive Dictionary. And it's quite short and easy to implement, but it's fairly profound what's going on. So let me try to help you understand it. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm first going to create two browser windows, both containing our to-do list, because it's about reactive state, and maybe some of you haven't yet quite figured out what that means. Okay, so what I've just done now is now you can pretend that these are two different users. Okay, even though they're really just us, and the cool thing about Meteor, one of the cool things about Meteor is that it's quote-unquote reactive. And what does that mean? That means that when this user on the left, who's in California, decides to add a new task like, learn Meteor, okay, immediately this user over here who's, in Hawaii sees that update. They didn't have to refresh their browser window or anything. So somehow, when this user added a new method over on this side, that information was communicated back to the browser. Excuse me, that information was saved in the underlying common database, which is Mongo, but then somehow Meteor, through some kind of magic, notifies everybody else who happens to be connected to that Mongo database that things have changed, and without your UI having to change anything, your page is refreshed or updated. I won't say refreshed because that's what that means. It's updated with the new information. Okay, and conversely, our friend in Hawaii says, learn Blaze, and all of a sudden the person over in California sees that. Okay, so that's the essential form of reactivity that we get through using these templates and referring to the so to get that, let me just get more specific here. So to get that, what we have is this task template, okay, or let's go back to body.html, body.html, sorry, body.html, yeah, here we go. So for each, okay, for that list is for each member of this tasks instance, yikes, my mouse is going away, which is defined here, okay, which is going to basically look up, right now let's just look right here. It's going to look up all of the documents associated with this tasks collection and sort them in whatever, and print out and pass each of them in turn to this task template, okay, which is now going to, display the text value. Okay, so this reactivity that we see here when we're doing this, okay, all comes about through this declarative process of using this template description. Notice we're not like checking to see, we're not pulling the Mongo database or anything like that. We just write this declarative code that says we're going to loop through all of these tasks, and then somehow magically right here, when we access this task thing, this somehow gets updated when the underlying database gets changed by anybody, and somehow our display is going to get redisplayed. The DOM is going to be updated magically, and it is kind of somewhat magic, but the magic is all about the fact that we're using and returning this cursor from the tasks collection. Okay, so that's the kind of reactivity that's the first thing you kind of see, the chat apps, all these hello world things in Meteor show that. But what's going on in this, this part of the tutorial is this reactive dictionary, and that's a different kind of reactivity than the standard reactivity, okay? And to figure that out, I'll just show you this. What happens when the person in California wants to hide their completed tasks? Okay, well, they hide their completed tasks But notice that our user in Hawaii is not having their completed tasks hidden. Okay, so these are now independent thing. Okay, I click this checkbox and somehow my display gets updated over in California, and over in Hawaii I can click this and my display gets updated. But in fact, I'm not affecting other users when I do that. And that's the key property of this reactive dictionary, is when you create reactive dictionaries in Meteor, what you're essentially doing is declaring, I have some state that I want to maintain for just my current user, just the current browser session, okay? And I don't want to go back to the Meteor database, the Mongo database. If I had to do that, I have to create a collection and all that kind of stuff, right? And then it would be something that could be communicated to everybody. But with a reactive dictionary, I'm basically saying I want some key value pairs that I want to manipulate using this crazy magical reactive update stuff, okay, which is why I can click this and things change here. It's changing through reactive processes. But at the same time, because I'm using a reactive dictionary and not the underlying Mongo database, nobody else knows about it. Okay? So let's kind of roughly look and see how this works. Okay, the first thing is, we have to import this reactive dict thing, and we had to load it from, you had to say Meteor add, reactive dictionary. And then the first thing we have to do is we have to declare, bring one of these reactive dictionaries into existence. And the way we do that is we say onCreated. We use this onCreated method of the body template. So when you have the body element in Meteor, you're implicitly creating a template that now you can do these kind of crazy reactive things with. So we're going to say whenever the body is created, we're going to create a new reactive dictionary. Okay, so there's kind of an interesting aspect of this, which is that right now I have hidden all my completed tasks. Now what happens, when does this onCreated thing run? Well, when you refresh your page, it's going to run that. It's going to recreate the body. So let's see what happens. Okay, notice it went away because we reran. The body was created, so we reran that onCreated task, so we created a new reactive dictionary, which has the default state of this thing being unchecked. Okay, so that's the first thing, kind of fun thing to kind of figure out with this onCreated thing, is if you actually refresh your page manually, then this thing will run again and your state will be reinitialized. So we've got this new thing called a reactive dictionary, and it's bound to a state field of this, where this is the template instance. Okay, again, man, JavaScript, this in JavaScript, it's like crazy figuring out what the heck this means in JavaScript. And right now, this means the instance associated with a template. And I don't know how I don't think, as far as I know, there's no general rule like you can learn to understand this. You just have to go through all these different contexts and just kind of figure out what the library author or whatever means by this in any current situation. Okay, so right now that's what this means. Okay, and then inside our helpers of the body template, we can get access to the instance that is referred to by the this variable up here by calling template.instance. Okay, and we're going to call it instance, but we're really referring to the exact same thing that this was referring to here, except it wasn't bound to instance up there. Okay, and so given that, now we can refer to that same state variable, and we can check to see what its value is. Okay, and if so, we're going to filter the tasks out. I'm not going to go over that right now. That's kind of a Mongo thing. Where do we get that set? Well, we get it set down here where we learn somewhat, like out of the blue, that there's this second argument for events, which is going to conveniently be bound to the instance associated with the template at the time that that event was called. And because if we look at body.html, we can see, okay, here's our here's our event. It's an input with the class hide completed. Okay, so we look here, we're looking for a change event on an input element with class hide completed. So that's what tells us that, this is the guy, right? And what template is that associated with? Well, it doesn't look like it's associated with any template, but in fact it is because it's inside the body, so it's associated with this implicitly created template called the body template. It's kind of cool. And then so we find out, oh my gosh, we get to pass in the template instance, or we get the template instance if we supply this second argument. And so conveniently now we got the instance that's the same thing as this, and so we can set the state to whatever the checked value of the hide. I'm sorry. We're going to get the value of whether or not the box is checked, and we're going to set that in our dictionary key value pair. We're going to set the key hide completed to the value of the checked window, right? And then up here we get the value of the hide completed key, which is going to be whatever this was last checked to, and then do the right thing. Okay, so that's reactive dictionaries. Now you're noticing that you've got two kinds of reactivity in Meteor. You've got reactivity that involves the Mongo database, okay, where we're doing the find and we're doing the set and so forth, and that gets communicated to everybody. Then we've got this other kind of reactivity which is specific to a single session or a single browser interface, and that one we can do that manipulates just the current session or the current user, you could say, without affecting anybody else. Hope that helps.